You know how Philly never lets you breathe for a second? This week at the NovaCare complex has been that kind of storm where nobody's safe. Not coach, not quarterback, not the kid fighting for a roster spot. Everywhere you turn, it's drama, doubt, and that wild Philly energy. First, imagine the whole country suddenly looking at Nick Sirianni different. Like, maybe he's not just another face on the sideline, maybe he's exactly what the city's always needed. Then there's the fire around Jalen Hurts. Nobody catches more heat, and nobody's had their name tossed around like his. You think the debate's over? Man, you haven't seen anything yet. And what's up with the new blood? One name starting to break out from the shadows at training camp, and it's not who you'd expect. But all that hype can't hide what everyone's whispering about in Philly, because this year, what happens on the line could change everything we thought we knew about this team. Stick around, because what's coming next will leave a lot of folks with their jaws on the floor.
Bro, have you checked if you're already subscribed to the channel? We've got Eagles news every single day, don't miss out. And hey, help us hit that 1,000 subscriber goal. Thanks a ton for being part of the squad.
Yo, you ever get that feeling, looking back on last season, that nobody really wanted to give Nick Sirianni his due? Philly's always been the city where you've got to bleed for every ounce of respect, and man, nobody's taken more heat and still kept the locker room together like him. All that love-hate from the fans? That's just real. It's Philly. It's what makes us different. But this year, even the national media finally had to admit what's up. Check this out. Cody Benjamin from CBS Sports dropped his annual head coach ranking, and for the first time, Nick Sirianni wasn't just an afterthought. Last year, guy was 15th. Now, he's sitting in 4th, right up there with the heavyweights. That's not just some popularity contest. He jumped 11 spots in 1 year. Why? Because after all that ugly mess we went through in 2023, Sirianni never blinked. Remember how everyone wanted him gone? It wasn't just the randoms on talk radio. There were people inside the building, too, questioning if he was the right guy for the job. Howie Roseman could have easily made a move, and half the city would have been on board. But you know what? Sirianni didn't take it personal. Dude just shut up, put his head down, and went to work. He rebuilt the staff, ripped out both coordinators, and got everyone rowing in the same direction. That 2-2 start, nobody was buying in. Fans were pissed. The press was ready to bury him. Then, right after the bye week, something just clicked. He found a way to make all those personalities fit together. He shut up the critics with results, not word. Only one lost the rest of the regular season, and then ran through the postseason with a team that wasn't supposed to be that tough. Benjamin wrote, his brash antics to close a pitiful 2023 collapse were enough to have Eagles fans reasonably pondering whether he'd totally failed an all-star assembly. Then he put his head down and became the behind-the-scenes glue for a remarkable rebound with a historically dominant finish. Maybe he's boosted by Howie Roseman collecting premium talent across the board. But you don't shepherd 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years by accident. He embodies the Philadelphia spirit with his passion. That's from CBS Sports, not some local homer. That's respect. It wasn't just about the bounce back. Sirianni showed he could handle change. New guys came in, veterans had to adjust, and he kept the locker room together, no matter who was talking behind closed doors. You think about how many head coaches fall apart when their team hits a losing streak like we did in 2023, 6 losses in 7 games, after starting 10-1? That would have crushed most guys. But Sirianni wore that pain like armor. He took all the shots, all the he's lost the room noise, and just kept coaching. He started in 2021, and right out the gate, people doubted him. That first season started 2-5, but he never let the wheels come off. He turned it around, finished 9-8, snuck into the playoffs. After that, Super Bowl run, came up short against Kansas City, but nobody expected us to be there. Then 2023, like I said, disaster down the stretch. Most places, the head coach doesn't survive. Here, Philly tested him, and he passed. Now, look at the numbers. 48 wins, 20 losses in the regular season, 6-3 in the playoffs. Second most wins for a new head coach in his first 4 years in the entire history of the National Football League. The only guy ahead of him? George Seifert. That's history, man. That's not hype. Philly fans don't hand out respect easy, and Sirianni earned every bit of it. He's got that edge. Doesn't care what anybody says. Just lives in the moment, coaches his guys, and takes the heat so the team can play free. That's what it means to be from here. And now, with a new season coming up, you can feel the energy. No one's doubting him anymore. Not the media, not the front office, and for the first time in a while, not even the fan. That's Philly, man. We remember who fights for us when the world's throwing punches. And speaking of people taking heat, wait till you hear what went down with Jalen Hurts this offseason. Alright, let's just keep this rolling. Because if you thought Nick Sirianni had it rough, Jalen Hurts has been living with the crosshairs on his back all off-season. The dude's whole career in Philadelphia has been one long, never-ending debate. Is he really that guy? Or is he just riding a loaded roster? Every week, it's something new. Some talking head on the radio, some analyst from who knows where, throwing shade, saying he's overrated, saying he got carried to the Super Bowl. Like people just forgot what he did when it mattered most. And look, I gotta give it to Nick Sirianni for standing up and putting it all on the line for his quarterback. Jimmy Kempski from Philly Voice was all over it. During one of those pressers where the vultures circle, Sirianni just snapped, no filter. You wanna know what he actually said? Here it is, word for word. I think that's Bulls *** T. That's a direct quote. He didn't dress it up. He didn't try to walk it back. He said what every Philly fan was already thinking. Sirianni kept going. He said Jalen Hurts plays the most important position in all of sports, and this isn't just about one guy. It's the most ultimate team game there is, and what I admire about him is his selflessness of doing anything we need to do to win, whether that's throw. I mean, obviously, anybody who plays quarterback is going to want to throw it 50 times a game, but he will do anything. If he has to throw it 50 times a game, he's ready to do that. If he has to hand it off 50 times a game, he's ready to do that. You want a leader? That's a leader. Meanwhile, all those top quarterback rankings come out and, of course, everybody's got an opinion. Some people have Hurts outside the top 10. Some have him squeaking in at number 9. According to the National Football League personnel ranking, he landed at 9th, which is wild. Because the noise isn't even about what he actually does on the field. It's always about what people think he can't do. Too much running, not enough passing, all that nonsense. But let's go back to the biggest stage, Super Bowl against Kansas City. All that talk about Saquon Barkley carrying the offense? Please. Barkley had 57 yards on 25 carries. That's it. The Chiefs bottled up the run, and it was on Hurts to do what needed to be done. 17 of 22, 221 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 72 rushing yards, another touchdown on the ground. He basically put the team on his back. People forget, when the lights are brightest, this dude doesn't shrink. He steps up. It's wild, man. Hurts is 46-20 as a starting quarterback. That's not some fluke. That's winning football. Does he put up gaudy passing numbers every week? No, but he wins. You can have all the stats in the world. Philly cares about the scoreboard. And you could see it in Sirianni's eyes, standing there at that podium, like he's ready to go to war for his quarterback. That's what this city is about. You take hits, you stand up, you keep swinging. That's Philly. That's Hurt. The rest of the league can keep talking. We're just keeping receipts. But since everyone's got a hot take about Jalen Hurts, let me show you just how far this madness goes. The next story, man. It's wild how some of these so-called insiders put him under the microscope. Alright, let's keep it moving. Because the way the national media and all those league insiders go after Jalen Hurts, it's relentless. Everybody with a laptop or a microphone wants to turn his game inside out, like it's never enough just to win. So now, every offseason, we get these quarterback rankings from the real power brokers, scouts, coaches, execs, all the folks Jeremy Fowler from ESPN rounds up for his annual list. And here's the kicker. Jalen Hurts cracks the top 10, but just barely. He's sitting at number 9. And even when they're giving him some credit, they're throwing in all these backhanded compliments. You got one AFC executive. This dude actually had Hurts in his top 5, he said. He had a better year running the ball, and the way he played down the stretch when healthy was impressive. Better throwing the ball in general this year and cut out the turnover. But every time they give the guy prop, it's always followed by a but. Last year, when Hurts had to throw the ball 538 times, yeah, he had 15 picks. This past season, cut that down to 5 interceptions. That's not nothing. They always want to talk about whether he can throw from the pocket, whether he can carry a team in a shootout. Here's the thing. He's already got that Super Bowl on his resume. And there's a lot of folks in the league who see a little Russell Wilson in him. Many voters see shades of a Russell Wilson career arc. Hurts has many traits that contribute to winning at a high level but needs a steady running game around him and wouldn't necessarily thrive in a pass-heavy system. That's straight from the ESPN report. But you know what? Stack up the first 4 years of Hurts' career against Wilson's, and you see Hurts actually ahead in some categories, especially with what he does with his legs. People keep saying, oh, it's just the tush-push. That's where all the touchdowns come from. But that's not the whole story. Hurts moves the chains, makes plays in the red zone, and when things get tight, he's the one breaking out of the pocket and saving the drive. Still, they knock him down in these rankings because the Philadelphia Eagles run the football. Like somehow that's a bad thing, just because he's not launching it 45 times a game. I mean, come on. Russell Wilson, when he was coming up in Seattle, he had a killer run game too. Nobody was using that as a reason to drag him down. Hurts has already shown he can get it done on the big stage. And even with all these numbers and comparisons, you can feel there's this weird energy, like Hurts has to do twice as much to get half the credit. That's just how it is for quarterbacks in Philadelphia. Nothing comes easy. The media's always got something to say, and the pressure never lets up. But Hurts? He just keeps stacking wins and proving people wrong, one Sunday at a time. The craziest part is, As soon as someone tries to give Hurts his flowers, there's always someone else lining up to call him average or just along for the ride. Wait till you hear the next take. There's a writer who took hot take to a whole new level, and Philly fans were fuming. Yeah. And this is where it really starts to boil over. Because if you thought being ranked 9th by the league's insiders was bad, wait till you hear how low some of these writers will go just to make a headline. Lou Scatalia from Fansided's NFL Spin Zone? This guy took Jalen Hurts and stuck him all the way down at number 16 on his quarterback power rankings for 2025. No context, no credit, just straight up calling Hurts an average quarterback just along for the ride. Scatalia goes on, says, "For years now, the Philadelphia Eagles have had a top-tier offensive line, wide receiver room, running game, and defense. Despite the loaded talent on both sides of the ball, Hurts has never thrown for 4,000 yards or 25 touchdown passes in a single season. He also does take a lot of sacks and is not one to always play on time. Jalen Hurts just isn't a legitimate drop-back quarterback in the National Football League and has never been a high-volume passer, but that's kind of the first responsibility of a quarterback in this league. Right? Hurts is average and is 16th in our quarterback rankings for 2025. He actually wrote all that word for word. So of course, the whole city lit up. Everybody's screaming, how can you watch this guy play, watch what he's done when it counts, and call him average? Yeah, okay, he threw for under 3,000 yards in 2024, 18 touchdowns, 361 attempts. That's not mind-blowing, but it's not the full story. Here's the numbers you don't see on the surface. 68.7% completion rate, top 8 among guys with at least 360 pass attempts. Average yards per completion, 8.0, top 4. Only 5 picks, which put him top 3 for efficiency, and a quarterback rating of 103.7. That's not luck, that's not just along for the ride. That's making smart throws, making plays when it matters. And it's not like the rushing is some little side note. 630 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns on the ground. Nobody else is doing that, nobody else is running that tush-push like him. And when the games got big, when the lights were brightest, go look up his playoff run. 726 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, just 1 interception, a passer rating of 108.6, 71% completion, another 194 yards rushing, 5 rushing scores, and a Super Bowl MVP. They don't just hand those out for riding along. The wildest part? Everybody wants to say the Philadelphia Eagles are just a running team, and Saquon Barkley dragged them to the Super Bowl. But Barkley did all that with the New York Giants for years, and nobody was crowning them champ. It takes a quarterback like Hurts to make everything work. Pressure, spotlight, fourth quarter, season on the line. So yeah, let these writers keep coming with their average takes. Philly knows what we're seeing. Hurts has been answering every challenge, and he's not out here looking for sympathy or talking about proving anybody wrong. He's just playing ball, stacking up win, and shutting up the noise the only way Philly knows how, on the field. And you want to talk about shutting up the noise? There's another story going on with this team right now that's got the whole fan base buzzing, but it's not even about Hurt. It's about the next guy in line to break out and make all the doubters eat their words. Let me get into that. Man, this is what Philly lives for. When nobody sees it coming, that's when the city wakes up. All this talk about the same old faces, but right now, it's Kelee Ringo who's got people buzzing for training camp. And not just because we're starved for something new. Brooks Cabina from The Athletic, he went on record picking Kelee Ringo as the Philadelphia Eagles breakout star for 2025. That's not hype. That's a guy who watched every snap, talked to the coaches, and knows what the front office is thinking. Here's what's wild. After Darius Slay moved on, the Philadelphia Eagles didn't make any big splash signing to replace him. That's not an accident. They're putting their chips down on Ringo. The kid was a 4th-round pick in 2023, didn't light it up as a rookie, but he's only 23. That's younger than 5 of the rookies the Philadelphia Eagles just drafted this year. It's not like he's some veteran who's hit his ceiling. He's just getting started, and they know it. Training camp? It's all about Ringo going up against Adoree Jackson, who's got the experience but is brand new to the system. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio isn't messing around, either. He's not moving Cooper DeJean out of the nickel spot, even though DeJean can ball. So it's Ringo's job to lose, plain and simple. If he can't grab it now, maybe he never will, but everything's set up for him. Cabina said it straight. That the Eagles didn't make any major external moves to land a replacement for Darius Slay reveals the confidence they have in Ringo. The 2023 4th-round pick struggled as a rookie but has the physical tools to become an everyday starter. He's going to get his chance. At 23, he's younger than 5 of the rookies the Eagles just drafted. The organization believes it can unlock Ringo's potential after 2 years of developing as a pro. That's not me saying it, that's The Athletic. And you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles need at corner. Someone with the size to hang with those big receivers in the red zone, someone who can win those jump balls. Ringo's got the frame, 6'2", long arm, plus he's a freak athlete. Only started 5 out of 34 games so far, but there's flashes. 36 tackles, 3 pass deflections, 2 fumble recoveries, a forced fumble, a pick. It's about opportunity, and he's finally got one. People are sleeping on him, but inside that locker room, they're not. The Philadelphia Eagles believe he's got it. If he locks in at camp and shows he can handle those big moments, he could run with this job and not look back. And you know what happens in the city when a young guy catches fire. Philly gets behind him fast. That's when legends are made. But this training camp isn't just about the next star. It's also about what happens when a team loses its backbone. The biggest question right now is, can this defense still bully people up front like we're used to? Or did the offseason changes leave us exposed? That's where everybody's heads are at, and it's not getting any. Here's what nobody's sugarcoating in Philly: the defensive line. You look at this roster, you see a team that could go all the way again, loaded on paper, big money spent, expectations sky high. But Bleacher Report's Alex Ballentine broke it down. The number one question mark for the Philadelphia Eagles isn't about star receivers or the quarterback. It's right there in the trenches, especially after everything that went down this offseason. Let's just lay it out. Cap space? Philadelphia Eagles have over $31 million to work with, but the real concern is what's left inside after the moves they made. Josh Sweat and Milton Williams left in free agency, Brandon Graham retired, and Bryce Huff, who was sixth in pressures, was traded to San Francisco 49ers. That's a lot of production out the door. Last season, Sweat, Williams, and Graham were all at the top when it came to putting heat on the quarterback. So now it's on the new faces and the unproven talent. Jalen Hunt is about to get thrown in the fire. Second year, much bigger role. The Philadelphia Eagles went bargain shopping with Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche in free agency. They've got Jalen Carter, who, let's be real, is trending to become the most disruptive defensive tackle in football, and Nolan Smith, who just put together a strong year at only 23, racking up 6.5 sacks. But there's risk. The defensive line is young, and outside of Carter and Jordan Davis, you're talking about guys who haven't shown it consistently at the NFL level. Smith looks ready to replace Sweat, and Hunt is getting his shot as the other starting edge rusher. Ojulari. Giants fans will tell you he can get after it when healthy, but injuries have followed him everywhere. Uche flashed with 11.5 sacks back in 2022, but he's still got to prove he can do it again. Ballentine summed it up at Bleacher Report. There are potential answers on the roster. Jalen Hunt will be asked to step into a bigger role in his second season. The Eagles might have gotten big bargains in Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche in free agency. Having Jalen Carter is going to help. He's trending toward becoming the most disruptive interior defender in the league. Nolan Smith also put together a promising age 23 season. But the best Eagles teams in the Howie Roseman era have had deep pass rushing groups. There's work to be done to develop the same thing this season. What's got everyone on edge is just how much of this group is built on potential. Carter and Davis are expected to be great, but for the rest, it's an open audition. Hunt and Smith could be the new heart of the line, but there's no guarantee. Ojulari and Uche have to show they're more than just rotational depth. And Roseman, he's not panicking. He's letting training camp play out, putting faith in the young guys to step up before making any desperation move. In Philly, we know championships are won in the trenches. So when you look at this year's squad, the hype is real, but so is the anxiety. The defensive line is the one spot that could make or break the whole thing, and no one's pretending otherwise. Zach Bond set the standard, and now every veteran walking into the Philadelphia Eagles facility on a one-year deal is chasing that same high. You want to talk about pressure? Ask the guys who just got here what it's like having to prove yourself from day one, especially when everyone's still talking about how Bond did it. 4 years in New Orleans, then shows up in Philly with everything on the line, signs that prove-it contract, earns a starting spot, goes all-pro, ends up a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, and helps the Philadelphia Eagles bring home another Super Bowl. That's not just a dream, that's what actually happened. And because of that, every new face in this locker room feels it. Adoree Jackson, Azeez Ojulari, Josh Uche, A.J. Dillon, Harrison Bryant, Keelan Grandson, Avery Williams. Each of these guys is here on that same deal, knowing it could make or break the next chapter of their careers. Dave Spadaro from the official team site caught up with a few of them, and it's all the same story. These guys are extremely motivated and extremely excited and grateful to be here and call myself an Eagle now, like Avery Williams put it. For him, it's about doing whatever it takes. Special teams, offense, doesn't matter. There's no entitlement in this locker room. You want a spot, you gotta earn it. Adoree Jackson's another one. He started in Tennessee, he started in New York, but this is different. He knows nothing's guaranteed. New team, new system, and a bunch of hungry corners looking to make a name. Jackson said, "I knew some of the guys coming in and I'm here to compete." That's the way it works in this league. The key is to learn the defense, get to know the guys and build that chemistry, and go out and play great football every day. That's the tone in Philly. No days off. For Azeez Ojulari, this place is a reset. Giants fans remember his injuries and frustration, but he gets a clean slate. We have a lot of great players here, and that means there is going to be a lot of competition. Ojulari told Spadaro. "That brings out the best in you. I'm here to win football games and to be the best version of myself, and you walk into this building every day and you know you have to be at your best. Raise your game every day. That's what we're all trying to do." Philly fans respect that kind of talk, but they want to see it on Sunday. Josh Uche's coming from New England, where he put up 11.5 sacks a couple years back, but he knows this is a whole new ballgame. He told Spadaro, "Getting to the quarterback, playing tough, physical football, that's what I'm here to do. Having a chance to join this team with this defense, I think it's going to help me a lot. I know I'm going to be put in the right position to play my best ball, so it's up to me to go out there and do it. I feel like I have a lot to prove to myself every time I play, but now I'm with a new team and it's a fresh start." Howie Roseman didn't just throw money at big names this offseason. He loaded the roster with guys on one-year deals because he wants to light a fire under everyone. The Philadelphia Eagles are deep, the competition is cutthroat, and nobody's safe. Doesn't matter what you did somewhere else. Bond showed what's possible, but that's history now. This year's group is about who can handle the pressure, block out the noise, and make Philly believe all over again. Every day, every rep, every snap in camp is a chance to prove you belong. That's the reality for every vet walking into this building right now, and nobody's hiding from it.